Aho matakiyasan, namaste, sarve mire rishtidar. So, no, Osio, all my relatives. How you doing? Well, I'm doing an actual walking meditation, thought rambling here, journal entry. These are my journal entries, so I share what I share, and it's, like I said, it's my journal. And I never had planned for any of these to be seen, really. Pardon me, dog stopped me in my tracks. You know, it's amazing how strong these little dogs can be. I could force him to walk along, but, you know, he's the chief. I'm his kahoo, right? I think that's the way it was meant to be. Mother Earth is our mother, and we are the stewards. Unlike the little route we've taken here in our humanity, which was all, I don't know, in my little opinion, it was all prophesied and pre-planned. Kind of like my life. And yes, I believe we have free will. However, my thoughts around free will is we have the free will to go along in joy or go along in suffering. Well, I choose the joy route. I did the suffering route for a while. And now that I've seen where my life was pretty well pre-planned, and everything that I've gone through has been beautiful lessons, beautiful experiences, even amongst all the trauma. But like I said, lessons, ways of healing. So anyway, that's not what I wanted to really speak about and share for today. I haven't done an entry, and I did an entry yesterday. Yeah, I did. So today, I just allowed myself to just be. Went out briefly, and well, I got to do the, I was the host for all our relations fire ceremony, and I take little leaps. I have to be me. So I took a couple little leaps, and this morning with the fire, around some videos. My videos were definitely animal oriented because I like to bring in the non-human animals, and it's through them that humanity has learned. So, learned a lot. They taught us a lot about ourselves, and I'm continuing to do so. So, come on, baby. So, and then I felt some interesting energies towards the end, and I wanted to get down to the park because Rashidi's got to have, well, I've got to have my wind therapy, so does he, and he needs his walk and loves his little adventure in the morning. So we did that and left the prayer stone, and then I had forgotten that it was Sunday. Well, part of me remembered that it was Sunday because I'm like, oh, 25% off, right? And I got this go to the Goodwill. Well, I don't normally like to go to the Goodwill, especially now that I found the Humane Society one, and it's much closer. And of course, it supports the Humane Society, right? They're all volunteers. Unlike, fuck you. Unlike, just, thank you. Thank you. Unlike the Goodwill, where there's a CEO who's like living in a multi-mansion and, you know, it's all about the money. Where's the assistance? I think they do very little assistance just to say that they're the Goodwill. Anyway, so I really don't like donating for shopping there if I don't have to. So I go to the Goodwill, and I've been there several times. Well, the first few times I went there, I had my own little miniature cart, right? And was able to get a few items. And this was before I had seen the Humane Society one and knew where they were and stuff. And I discovered that on Sundays, they do 25% off for veterans. I'm like, cool. So I made sure I would go on a Sunday. Well, then all of a sudden it was, you can't bring that cart in here, ma'am. I'm like, I brought it in here the past couple of weeks. It hasn't been a problem. Well, ma'am, you can't bring that cart in here. You're going to have to leave that cart outside. And I'm like, okay, then goodbye. Because I wasn't gonna leave my cart. It's how I was getting groceries, you know. A half a mile walk to the grocery store, load your stuff up, and half a mile back. And yeah, I dropped my cart a couple times and knocked over on the curbs and all that kind of stuff. And it was interesting. Well, now I have Garuda, and it's like, I don't need the cart. So we get up there, we lock up the bike, had this nice little conversation with this gentleman, and of course at first I wasn't sure he was a gentleman. It was somebody yelling at me going, wow, that's a cool bike. And I'm like, thank you. And I kept going, right? Well, we were a few minutes before the Goodwill. And so we went over into a little shade spot. And I got him out and let him wander around. And the dude shows up. And he's like, what kind of bike is that? And I'm going, sir, you know, I have space issues. Could you just back away, please? And he's like, oh, sure. What, have you been in prison? You look like maybe you've been in prison. And I says, no, I haven't been in prison, but I've been to prisons. And he goes, what do you mean you've been to prisons? And I said, well, I've done workshops in prisons. You what? I said, I've done workshops in prisons. He goes, oh, and I says, and I'm military. I said, I'm a veteran. Oh, thank you for your service. He goes, well, I've been in prison. And I says, okay. Because I understand the space issues. And so he you know, backed himself up and went on. Was up against the wall and so forth. And I was just kind of getting this, you know, yo, dude. And he was picking up on that, and he was very respectful about that. So I thought, wow, you know, maybe I've got some issues. And I do. I have trust issues. And I'll be the first to acknowledge them and claim them. I take responsibility for it. I trust Creator. I trust the Creator and not necessarily the human animal. And I've had many discussions with my dad around that. And, you know, we're human. What do you expect, right? The human has its imperfections, and if you believe that we're not going to show our imperfections, well, then you're kidding yourself. Anyway, so he goes on around, and it turns out that he was going over to the Goodwill too. He was waiting for Goodwill to open, and he had shade on the other side of the building. So we go in the Goodwill. I'm being very, very mindful, you know, waiting for the folks to move on through. So they move on through, and they're grabbing their cards, and I'm standing there waiting. And I go to pull my card out, put little Rashini in the cart, and immediately, vroom, same couple ladies from like the last time, right? Never had a problem putting Rashini in a cart. Don't have a problem putting them in the cart at the grocery store. Actually, this is the only place where they've had problems with me and my dog. And so I put him up there, and I get ready, and they're like, ma'am, you can't put him in the cart. And I said, excuse me? Ma'am, he needs to be on the floor. I said, well, then I'll just carry him. And I took him, I just pushed the cart away, and I picked him up, and I'm going, you know, I'm not walking through Goodwill like this. This is bullshit. You know, it's not like I have a black lab or a German shepherd or anything like that. He's a little Chiweenie, and people do not look down, and they do not acknowledge the small dogs 9 times out of 10, which, if you put them in their own bag and you have a covering, it is perfectly legal. But I was in no condition, no mindset at the time to go, you know what? Instead, I started getting really, really kind of frustrated and angry. And there was only and I'm going, okay, what do you have me here for, Spirit? And I just made a quick little trip around didn't even stop to really look at anything. And I got this, you've gotten what you need, get out of here. And I'm like, thank you. And I got out. And yes, I acknowledge and I admit a few little angry words come spewing out of my mouth as I go walking out the door, undoing my lock on Garuda and getting out of there. It's like, get out of the public, get out of the public. You've gotten what you needed, which is stay out of the big business bullshit. Period. No, I will not go to a Walmart. No, I will not go to another Goodwill. It's all big business, and they're just little money hungry. They're the rich ones, right? They're the hoarders. The ones that make them rich were the rich ones. So let us use and spend our energy wisely and in the places that are actually making a big difference, like the Humane Society. So I went straight back to the apartment and got on with my doing this rehumanizing course. So I get onto the rehumanizing course. Now I love this course, and I love the indigenous. However, this music came on, and I'm going, okay, I love the message of this music, but whoa, playing like rap music and then trying to talk over it. I'm like, whoa, I really need to shift my vibe. I jumped off of there, saged myself, sweetgrassed, few deep breaths. recenter. Got a message from a sister. The music has stopped. Get back on. And I jumped on, and it was an amazing presentation. Beautiful presentation. Very, very inspiring, because it brought the desert in and what they're doing in the desert and some different things like that. And began seeing a whole nother aspect of, well, another project. Definitely prayer juice. It was definitely prayer juice. So from that, get off of there and start watching some videos around a project that I'm working on. And the body twinges. It's really, really interesting today. Definitely noticing it very strongly today. It's like around this, you start sweating, and then when the sweat starts to dry, and you kind of get that cool off and so forth. Anyway, there's, sensations that happen with your body. Well, these sensations that I'm having are different than what I've experienced before. It's like acupuncture, twinges, itchy, stinging. When you've got the sweat thing going on, it's like, wow, what is going on in there? So I want to see what the solar flares and stuff are doing, because your solar flares, especially if it's certain kinds, it's my understanding that it's almost like radiation, like the sun, like it's actual radiation, and the water soaks up that radiation. It's much very conducive to the like microwaves alter. And so I want to see what the solar flares and see if we're got some kind of a radiation thing going on, and also see what the astrology is sharing for today. Because what I noticed for myself is the other day when I was so frustrated and whatnot, it's just like, oh my gosh, everything. But yet I kept shifting my mind focus back to the truth, back to the truth, back to the truth. But it was like uncontrollable frustration and anger. And then when I watched my astrology for the energy of that day, yesterday, which would be today's energy, or anyway, so when I was watching the energy, it was like, oh, okay, I'm not going crazy. No, I haven't stepped backwards. No, I haven't fallen off the paddy wagon. I'm right on pulse. So it'll be interesting to see what today's energy is, and to see what the solar flares and so forth is. But I just wanted to make a short journal entry. I mean, look at this face. There's my little chief. Huh? Was that good? Was that good? You need more food? Okay, I think he needs more food. He actually finished his bowl, I do believe. I'll get you some more food. Oh, yeah. You need some more, don't you? He is loving this new food. And I'm grateful to know it doesn't have all the fillers. It doesn't have all the nasty beef hormones and antibiotics and all the crap, growth hormones. It has all your good vegetables, you know, because even your carnivores need their greens. They say, oh, you know, wolves and cheetahs and stuff, they don't eat greens. Well, bullshit. They do. Even they eat grass eaters. And so it's in their stomachs, it's in their body. So yes, they're eating the meat, but they're getting the greens too. And they eat special greens and different things. So there's no such thing as a strict carnivore. Of course, I know a human or two that are nothing but meat and potatoes, but they're not exactly the healthiest. Anyway, so I went off on a tangent, went off on a couple tangents. Anyway, I'm getting some really, there's some clarity coming in, and really getting psyched about getting some land and putting a tiny home, and doing some restorative projects, collaborate with some folks. And if not, well, that's okay too. I don't know. Let's see what Spirit has in store for us. Because one thing that I have learned with myself, especially, is when I make plans, Spirit's like, really? And laughs and gives me a left turn. So I'm better off without having an agenda and just setting intentions and following the breadcrumbs and allowing my ancestors, allowing Spirit, allowing the energies to move the agenda, as long as I stay in alignment. As long as I stay in alignment with my pure intention. And yes, there's discerning that takes place. Is this feeding my intention, or is this feeding something else? And I've gotten much, much better and clearer at choosing those and allowing. So I'm going to leave it at that for tonight. We have a very content little boy, chief here. Very content little chief. That makes my heart sing. All right. Have a great night. We'll see you on the other side. This is August 31st. Tomorrow's September 1st. So any of y'all veterans out there, if you happen to be seeing this, thank you. Thank you. And yeah. And those that support the veterans, thank you. Thank you.